I have a bone to pick with Edna, but I don't think this is the right place or time.
What's that then, Pete? Where's Pete gone? Let me download it.
We don't need to talk about that now. We don't need to talk about that
you
now.
dropped it in there.
You can
just to unravel me, Pete, because you were given a poor reception there by Hoy, who kind of smoked you out, like George Bush smoking out Bin Laden. Let's have a look then. What's this then? Oh, Christ, let's turn down a bit. Where's the volume?
You're listening to Technology Science. To connect to us.
Oh, you're playing it. Okay.
2 minutes, 2 hours, sorry.
Okay, cool. Play 2 hours, 28, 42.
28:42. You must be looking into things very, very carefully, Pete.
No, as I wrote, I was just listening.
Let's have a listen then.
In the world of weather companies.
Coming across too well there. I think that's the sort of something you can do personally, I guess. Formulate your own opinions on the matter.
I'm frustrated. What they used in the First World War
Well, I don't think it's going to come across too well on the way you're playing it now. Again, we can only satisfy ourselves. Marceau, sound outside.
Sun cream actually,
No.
sun cream on your skin.
Well, see, now I feel stupid, like, let's catch him. No, I want to hear what you're saying.
So what are you saying, Pete? That you're saying that Simon Schacht is the same as Jan Erik? Is that what you're saying?
In that link there that I posted?
Yeah.
No, that's not what I was saying, mate.
What are you saying? Unreal is the same as Jan Erik? I don't know. What are you saying? What, I'm the same as somebody? What are you saying there?
Is it not clear what I'm saying now?
Well, I listened to what you were saying there, and there's Jan Erik, the person who claims to be Jan Erik Hansen, saying that there's chlorine in the water and it's very unhealthy.
No. Well, you're at the wrong point. You're at the wrong point, mate.
That was exactly it.
It's where you come to introduce yourself to the conversation.
Well, let me listen again then. Hang on. I'll crank the speaker up so everyone can hear it. I don't remember even this conversation. I vaguely remember it, but it was like probably about 5 in the morning or something. 2 minutes, 28,
mate. Others have heard it as well.
2 minutes 20. All right, we'll go back to 2 minutes 28 seconds then. 2 minutes 28 and 11. There we are.
And 42. No, go to maybe 40, and then you'll find.
2 minutes 28. 2 hours. Sorry, 28 minutes. Can't get it that accurate. Let's have a look.
And 40 or 30. Go to 30.
2 minutes 28. 37. 2 minutes 28. 30.
That's good.
2 minutes 28. 10.
There you go. Now you can pause it there. It's only like 5 or 6 seconds. Yeah, you can quit it there, Edna. You can quit it there.
Like to understand your accent, you're not understanding. I'm trying to identify, locate your accent.
Yeah, you can quit it there, Edna. You can there.
So what about that then, Pete?
Okay, that's fine.
What? What was interesting in that? Me asking Unreal what part of the...
No, I wasn't on there at all. What I've done is I've explained it in the post I posted there. Evil Edna tunes in to say hello, but he clearly forgets to activate his voice distorter for a few telling seconds. 2:28:42.
Whatever. I don't know what you're talking about, Pete, but anyway, I'll take your word for it. Whatever you say.
You'd have to say that, mate, wouldn't you? But again, that's up to everyone to listen and make what they make it.
Well, you may as well say what you mean. What on earth are you talking about? You think I'm actually somebody else, and I forgot to activate a voice distorter, whatever that is.
You can read, mate.
I can read what you're saying now. I don't know what you mean anyway. What do you mean? I'm trying to distort my voice, or have been distorting my voice to sound like somebody else. Who?
Well,
I don't have any voice distortion software, so I don't even know what it is.
So, well, I'm sure you'll have a chance to listen to that again, Edna, because I posted that comment to Tim and a few others as well. So, I mean, for me, that's clear as day, you know. But I'm not calling you out on anything. I'm not making any judgments, mate. I'm really not. What I like to think is, Edna, as I've said to Hoy already, that there's a good force operating in this world, and I'd like to think of it that way.
Listen here, Pete.
Really
you are claiming that a good force pulled off the 9/11 hoax and the July 7th hoax. You are a cock. You really are a fucking cock. There's people who are losing their lives in the Middle East because of a fucking lie in which 3,000 people did not die. So get that into your thick fucking skull, you moron. There is nothing fucking good about psyops like 9/11, the July 7th hoax, the Madrid hoax, whatever. There's nothing good in that, okay? So I don't know what shit you're coming out with here at 7:05 in the morning, telling me I've failed to activate my voice distorter. I do not know what you're on about, mate. You are full of shit. I don't know what your background is. I don't know what your background is, Pete. But what I am interested in is what somebody in Ireland is doing, pushing British propaganda. I'd love to know where you really are, you weaselly little runt, but I can tell you for a fact, I'd be very, very surprised if you're in Ireland, mate. You're just bouncing your messages off a proxy in the Republic of Ireland. And if I found out where you were, if I was an Irish Republican and found out where you were, I'd wax you, mate.
I'm sure you probably have those capabilities, mate.
And what are you weaselly little runt? I can imagine you sitting in Cheltenham, headquarters of British GCHQ. I can imagine you sitting there with your. You're like the William Joyce of modern day, aren't you? Really, Shea, aren't you? You are, aren't you? You're like a little runt.
Are you raging, Edna, that you're
not at all. I'm just thinking what a weaselly little drug-addicted little runt you are.
Now you know you can't escape from it because the evidence is there, mate.
There's the evidence is there, is it, you weird little fucker?
That's why you're lashing
out. What are you exactly saying? You're claiming that I've activated some voice distorter in the past. I don't even know what that is. You are so full of shit, it's unbelievable. Dirty little drug addict. That was a pretty aggressive
spiel from you there, Edna.
No, you provoked my anger. I will guarantee. I'm telling you now, you've provoked my anger. Of course you have, you silly little runt. You're a weaselly little runt working for... I should imagine you're working for British intelligence, aren't you really, Peter? Yeah?
Well, yes, I am, Edna.
I think I probably am right, aren't you?
My accent that gave me away.
No, your accent is it. We can all talk with an Irish accent when we want to. I can probably do a better one than you can, Peter. But I don't have to keep it up. I don't have to keep it up, Peter. Because whilst I might hang around...
I'm sure you're multi-talented.
That's right, Peter. But I can talk with all sorts of accents. I can talk with a Liverpool accent as well if I want to.
I know you can,
asshole.
You're a mind of
fucking glass you fucking shitheads. Yes, we can all talk with her. Liverpool, what about a Brummie accent? Can you do a Brummie one as well? Can you, Peter?
I fucking can.
I can imagine you sitting there in GCHQ with your trousers and pants round your ankle. Yes, right, isn't it, Peter? I can imagine you sitting there, jerking off. Oh, they don't think I'm Irish. You really are a cock, aren't you, mate? You bored the pants off Hoi Polloi, didn't you?
You have to cover now because you've been busted, mate.
I've been busted for...
Very aggressive.
Oh, for being aggressive,
I see. Very aggressive of you there, mate.
It is, isn't it, Pete Shea?
Very aggressive of you.
Tell us a bit about yourself. Where exactly are you based in Ireland, Peter? I've got a feeling you're more likely to be in somewhere like Coleraine or somewhere like that. Yeah? I can't see you're in the south. There's someone would have bent your ears backwards,
That's
mate.
Fine.
I can't believe you are. I can imagine you're on a military base in the north of Ireland somewhere, yeah? Yes, Peter? There's quite a lot of psyop work done out there. What's your real name, Peter? Not Peter,
Relax, is it? No, take it easy, mate.
No, matey. Let's get to the truth. Relax. If you want to call me, if you want to claim I'm using a false identity and I'm using voice morphing software, you really are fucked.
I think it's proven, mate. You slipped up.
It's proven, is it? It's really proven. Yes, I can talk with an Irish accent
as well. It is, Jesus.
Top of the morning to you. Yes, it's right, to Holy Mary, Mother of God, yes.
It is, and we're after digging up a pot of gold. Pot of gold we're after digging up.
You are shit at your job, Peter. You really are. If you want to be a spook, get some training, matey. Get some training, boy. Get some training, lover boy.
You're on record. You've been busted. You've been busted.
Yes, I have, Peter. You have too. You've been busted with a fake Irish accent. Oh, yes, boring the pants of everyone. Talking about your silly freeman on the land rubbish. boring the pants off everyone.
I just said I had a bone to pick with you, and I asked you for a response. Do you think there's no difference between your voice at the 42-second point and your normal voice?
Oh, yes, Peter. So now, let's go back to, you claim that Simon Shack and Jan Erik Hansen are the same person, don't you? Yeah? This is another one of your Ed Chiarini weirdnesses, isn't it, really?
And let's deal with this issue for the moment.
No, let's focus on you. What can we call you? Padraig? What are you calling yourself these days? Seamus?
Pete Shea.
Seamus O'Shea. You really are a fraud, aren't you? Dirty little fraud, dirty little drug addict.
He's been called out. He doesn't know how else to respond.
I don't need to respond to anything because I speak exactly the same whether I met you in person or whether I'm online. I use the same voice all the time.
I'm not insulting you. I'm not insulting you.
Really, Peter, you really are boring, aren't you? You bore the pants off everyone. Why did you get kicked off? I noticed how Hoy wasn't even prepared to say that you were his friend.
He told you to. With me. No, he agrees with me that it's a different voice.
Hoi Polloi does he?
Yes, he does.
Come on then, share that information. Then where did he say that?
Well, I posted to you.
No? Put it online. You are a waster, Peter. Peter Shea. Is that the name they gave you at GCHQ, Peter? Oh, my God, what a wanker.
I have to enter Skype first to get the comments up, mate.
Really? I can't think... Why were you flushed out of Clues Forum? You're like something... Are
you asking me, did Hoy agree with me? I said yes, and I'm going to post the comments, and I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Go on then, post them on the chat forum.
Hang on.
Oh,
Don't post them on live stream. Post them on the chat forum so everyone can read them, Peter.
This is good stuff, Kay, isn't it?
If you want to be called Peter.
Tim asked me if I could transfer all the posts over.
What's that?
Tim asked me if I could, anything we posted, if I could send it over to the chat.
Yeah, I've got nothing to hide. Why should I care?
Oh, part of the...
Brave words, Edna, brave words.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. You are tedious, Peter. If that's what you want me to call you. Spooky little Peter.
Busted, mate.
Really? Oh.
I'll just post Hoy's comments. Give me a second, okay?
You're posting the same old shit you've been posting for the past 20 minutes.
You asked me to post Hoy's comment when I showed him the link, and he said it's two different voices. I'm posting his comments. You asked me to.
Go on, then.
Okay, hang on.
Come on, then. Why didn't you do it earlier? Why you've got to do this silly, phony confrontation thing?
I'm not, mate. I'm not. I told you I would keep this private, but you choose not to.
Little spook.
I said I had a bone to pick with you, and I would keep it private, but you choose not to.
What's the point in saying that? Go on, post it. Publish it.
Hang on, then. I'm just finding it.
Yes, find it now. Are you still putting on this rather tedious Irish accent? You see, we have the fake... what's this latest shit you're coming out with about the legal identity and the dead identity of the person is not the same. You're full of crap. You've just been going on about the same old spew for weeks, haven't you? Months, years. That's why they flushed you out of Clues Forum. You're like a turd hanging in the bottom of a lavatory bowl, Peter. You're like the turd that won't flush away. But they got rid of you.
You've seen many of those, mate, haven't you?
They flushed you out of Clues Forum, didn't they, Peter? They worked out that you were a spook.
Too many Cornish pasties.
They were... Oh, that's funny, isn't it? That's exactly... Well, I've just been on holiday, Peter, in Cornwall. Why is that, then? How do you know that?
You ain't fooling anyone, kid.
Really? Are you a bit mentally disturbed, Peter?
Well, everyone says I am, mate. I tell them...
Or is that being too kind on you? You haven't posted anything of any sense.
You try hard to get the better of me, mate. You won't do it.
There's nothing to you, Peter. You're just a nasty little spook. I'm trying to work out where you are. I'm guessing Northern Ireland.
If anyone in fakeology can point to a place where I was nasty, you're a better man than I am.
I'm just trying to work out where you're from. I should imagine Northern Ireland is notorious for being a psyop central. It's where lots of psyops are sort of cooked up and tested on the Irish people. Before they're deployed in mainland Britain and in North America. There's quite a teams of PSYOP operatives there. People like Pete Shea, working for British intelligence, trying to blow people's minds, screw them up, make them think there's bombs going off around them, carried out by rogue elements within their own communities and such like.
Right, mate. I have Hoyt's.
That is where I guess
to hearing.
Pete Shea would come from. Come on then, spit it out. You're boring me, Peter.
I'll talk to Kay and Edna. Edna, have Hoy's responses.
Spit it out. You've had 20 minutes now to say something. Go on then. On that chat forum, on
I'll
Fakeologist.
post them now, yeah. I'm free to post them anywhere, of course, but I'll post them now because you wanted me to, okay?
Go on, yeah, do, yeah. I'm waiting. I'm bored with you, Peter. You're boring. Oh, let's have a look.
There you go, mate. Read it out.
You haven't put it where you said you would, Peter. I said put it on the chat forum.
Read it out for the crowd, mate.
Right. Maxime Conradi. I don't know why you have to put him as Maxime Conradi, but anyway, that's hoi polloi, for those who don't know. Definitely. So you cut the context of the conversation out, because I don't know why Maxime Conradi is saying definitely, but anyway. Maxime Conradi then says on the 16th
No, hang on. It says,
August,
I see what you mean now. Look at the it says above.
No, let's read it all. You've cut and pasted something. No, you haven't. You've written that, Peter.
Okay,
I would need to see
I posted Hoy. Hang on, Edna. I posted Hoy the message posted to you and Kay here, and his first response is, "Oh, see what you mean? Yes, he is using a voice distorter, definitely." Okay?
Well, it doesn't say that, does it? It says Pete Shea says, "Oh, I see what you mean." Cut and paste the whole lot then, if you feel it's of consequence, and don't put it there. Put it in the chat forum of Fakeologist. Don't put it on TeamSpeak. Put it where everyone can read it, Peter. Go on. Put your money where your mouth is, you little spook. Posted 3 messages. Go on.
Give me a minute.
Well, I asked you to put it there in the first place. It would be courteous, wouldn't it? Rather than tucking it away on some silly little chat forum somewhere. Put it publicly.
Well, I mean, this is publicly enough. You know, I can always be transferred.
No, it's not. There's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 people here. 3 live people, Kay Hamad, me, and you. So that's 3 people on this little chat forum. So put it publicly so everyone can read it if you feel if it warrants it. Come on. And don't cut and paste silly little bits of it. Put it in its entirety.
What do you mean publicly? What are you talking about? The Fakeologist chat?
Oh, of course, yes. Put it there. Or put it on Cruise Forum.
Do that.
You're very popular
there,
aren't you?
There's no need to put it on there now, though. I'll put it on there tomorrow. All this information is still here, mate.
I don't really trust you, Peter. I don't trust you in the slightest.
Are you doubting
anyway, let's try and work out what you are actually up to.
Are you doubting that Hoy agrees with me?
I don't know what. Why have you cut? Let's have a little bit more context to the conversation, because all you put in there is Maxime Conradi. Definitely. So I don't know what Maxime Conradi is saying definitely about. And then he says, I don't think that means he isn't who he says he is. I think he's just concerned about privacy. But where do you get something like that?
Hang on.
I wonder if he's like a detective or police person or has connections to one. No, Peter. And this was at 10:04. Now tell me what sort of time this is. This would be Dublin time, would it?
Hang on, mate. 1 minute.
16th of August, 2014, 10:04.
I posted half of the message, so...
That has no context. Maxime Conradi.
You won't listen. If you won't listen,
definitely.
How can I speak?
You had all the time in the world, so that would have been about 9 hours ago that Maxime did or didn't say whatever he said here. I don't see any context there. He says, I don't think that means he is who he says he is. Go on then. What's the context?
Right. Context. I posted originally to start this off.
I'm getting really bored with you. You have got nothing useful to add. If Kay Hamad wants to try and make some sense out of that, I'm sure she can see that you have cut and pasted. You've excerpted part of a chat conversation that you've apparently had with Maxime Conradi, who is better known as Hoi Polloi, and you've cut and pasted only an excerpt of it that makes no sense. Doesn't mean anything to me. Maxime Conradi says... Definitely. Does he now? Definitely. Yeah, okay. I say definitely as well. Cut a bit more. Come on, cut the next 20 lines either side of that.
Okay, I will. Can you calm down? I will.
Go on.
I will post you the original... What I did was...
You really are tedious, aren't you, Peter?
I posted the original comment
You're
to
a weird little
asking
fucker.
him what he thought.
Weird little fucker, little spook.
You're raging,
aren't you?
Aren't you raging, Edna?
No, I'm quite amused actually, Peter, that there's a silly little fucker like you sitting in Northern Ireland, sitting in an army military base. I can imagine you sitting there in your British army base thinking, people like you, I can imagine wankers like you pulled off that Oma bomb hoax, didn't you?
I'm thinking, Is it?
I can imagine wankers like you were involved in that Oma bomb hoax, weren't you? Yeah? When was that? 27 dead, wasn't it? I can imagine people like Pete Shea. You were involved in that, weren't you?
You have a very limited imagination, Edna. Maybe that's how you got the job.
So what psyops have you been involved in, Peter? Because you're obviously not on side, are you? You are a spook.
Evil Edna
You're a spy, Peter. You're a spy, aren't you? I can imagine you work for something like the FSB or something or other, don't you? One of those nasty institutions. Nasty TLAs, Peter. If that's what you want me to call you. Peter, do you?
If you say
call
so,
me
you
Peter.
seem to know all the terminology and all the locations of these PSYOP centres, mate.
Well, you're the one sitting there. So come on then, you're the one claiming to be an island. Where are you, Peter? Give us some direct locations so we can work out what sort of psyops have been going on around you and who might have been behind them. Peter. Come on.
You know where I am, mate.
I have no idea where you are. You seem to know an awful lot about those psyops in Limerick, didn't you?
Where I am.
You seem to know about this missing person psyops in Limerick, didn't you, Peter? You seem to want to defend them. You wanted to defend the Garda's involvement, didn't you? The Irish police involvement.
You knew a bit more about that than I did, mate.
No, you were defending it, saying that there hadn't been so many missing persons, fake hoaxes, when in fact there had. So you seem to know more than many people did,
news
Peter.
To me, as I said.
So you're involved in psyops in the south of Ireland, aren't you? You're linked with them. Missing person hoaxes, Peter. Tell us a bit more about them. Limerick Leader. You know about that, don't you? The newspaper for the Limerick area. And the
I've heard of it, mate.
The fake missing persons, don't you, Peter? You know about them. Used to frighten the community. People have been murdered in that community. And, we've got a bit more. A dot. Well done, Peter. Is that the depth of your conversation on the chat forum? You can put a dot. Anyway, I'm tired with you. Any comments, Kay Hamad?
No, this is very interesting.
You know what's going on, Kay.
But you know what? But you know what? I've heard weird things before where how voices tweak. So, I don't want to jump.
I've only
to
got
a
one
conclusion.
voice. I've only got one voice, and I have no evidence that Hoy said that. What you claim he said. He doesn't actually say what you say he says.
I'm trying to paste it.
You're very, very boring. Because Hoy, I find it difficult to believe that Hoy Pollard would share anything with you, because he said he didn't trust you. Do you remember? When we spoke about, a few hours ago, he said, I don't trust you, Peter. Didn't he?
That's fine. But I have been, look, Hoy is going to be on again.
Well, if Hoy Pollard says he doesn't trust me, he's welcome to say it to my face. I kind of trust what he says. I kind of trust
I'll read Hoy's comment. I posted the initial comment that I posted to Tim, where I caught Edna out, where the voice changes, and this is what Hoy's response was. And I only
you really are a tedious little fucker, aren't you?
Because Edna used Hoy as an ally. This is what Hoy said.
Go on then, read it, Peter. If you want to call you that, should we call you Slab? Slab Murphy? Should we call you that? You know who Slab is or was? Wasn't.
That sounds good, mate.
It does sound funny, doesn't it? What do you know about that Chewham baby hoax? Do you remember that one? 800 dead babies. What do you know about that psyop, Peter? You're in Ireland, aren't you? Not far from you, was it?
Right. Hoy says...
Were you linked to that one, Peter?
It's a fake quiz show, basically. Great. And he has a sign of a guy with glasses on. And then he says, oh, I see what you mean. Yes, he is using a voice distorter. And 2204, definitely.
Really? How fascinating. And what am I supposed to say to that? I am? I'm not?
He goes on to say, in the same series of texts, 2204, he says, I don't think that means he isn't who he says he is. I think he is just concerned about privacy.
Oh, right. Very interesting. And what's your point, Peter? That I'm using a voice distorter?
He says,
I'm not?
Just to finish, he says, but where do you get something like that? I wonder if he is like a detective or a police person, or has he connections to one? And I said, it could be Hoy, but there are other indications also. I had the on-air fight with him because of my suspicions. I'm not saying he's good or bad, but he sure has exposed a lot of media.
Very interesting, Peter. That was absolutely enthralling, whatever you want about.
And I just said, to finish, Edna, I am just aware that all is not what it seems. That's the limit of my judgment, mate. I don't view you as being good or bad. I like to think the thing. Think of you as
Yeah,
a good,
you're
a good
really
chip.
boring, Peter. You are one of the most boring people I've ever known on any of these forums. You're so shallow, and it's
Say
quite
it
obvious.
ain't so, mister. Say
It's
it ain't
quite
so.
obvious that you intend to drown out anybody else's views on it by your boring as pants talk about legal identities and everything else, which is a crock of shit, as you know.
I can
It's an
change,
absolute crock of shit.
I can change.
You can change, can you? You're such a shallow cunt, aren't you, really? Excuse me, Kay. You are, really, aren't you? You've got absolutely...
did I hear
You're
the
really...
C word?
What's
Oh my
surprising
God,
is
you
what's surprising is how poor at your job
mate.
you are. Because most spooks are actually, quite sophisticated at it, but you're not. Which I guess is why they perhaps dumped you in Ireland, is it? You're not fit to operate on the mainland, are you? Mainland Britain.
Better of you, mate.
Really? You think so? In what
You're
way?
busted now. That's why you use the C
Oh,
word.
yes, right. Oh, really? C word. Naughty me. What a waster. Thank God there's another bottle of beer here so I can drown out your
I'm good,
miserable
mate.
existence.
I'm
Get back to
good,
your
I'm
dope,
happy with
mate.
myself.
Get back to your smack or whatever you smoke.
I like dope. I smoke weed.
You're a drug addict.
You smoke weed, Kay? You like some weed?
You're a drug addict, Peter. Or at least you claim to be one. Says it all, really, doesn't it? British spook,
I'm not
addicted
an
to
addict.
drugs.
Listen, mate. I'm an
British
addict to
spy,
anything.
addicted to
Oh,
smack.
drugs. Is it drugs, Edna? Drugs are so bad.
You've got nothing to
I'm
you, have you,
doing
really?
with those drugs. Anyone who uses is bad.
You're a shallow bastard, aren't you, really? Which is why they flushed you out of Clues Forum. Like flushing a turd out of a lavatory.
That's all right, mate.
Pull
I
the
have no
chain enough
regrets.
times and away it goes. What a pathetic
You
urchin.
don't like this, do you, Edna? You don't like
I don't
this.
care, really. I could pull the plug out if I thought, but I kind of like, I can sense how the matador feels when it tosses the bull around, stabs it in the back with a, I don't know, whatever they call it, a spike or whatever it is. That's you. You're the dozy, thick, fat bull rushing around like charging at people. It's a bit of fun, isn't it, really?
Would I rather be the bull than the matador? I think I might.
You haven't got any choice, Peter. You are the bull. You are the thick, moronic
Do you like
bull.
tossing bulls, Edna?
In what context? I can imagine that
You like tossing bulls?
I can imagine that when you think about tossing, you're thinking more on the bestialic line.
That's good comeback, mate.
That's right. So, Peter, let's get back to your spooky background. Let's get back to your links to Psyops in Ireland. Let's get back to your links in Psyops in Ireland. Let's talk about the Tune Baby
No,
hoax.
let's get back to your voice changing, Edna.
Let's get back to the Tune Baby hoax.
I've got
no voice morphing software. I don't even know where you'd find it. I don't want it. I don't need it. Do you think I should have it? Do you? Do you think I should?
No.
Well, do you think I should go and find some voice morphing software?
You
Is that what
turned
you
pretty
say?
nasty there. You turned pretty nasty on me.
Yeah, I've
mate.
got a
I
nicely
was
streak
just-
in me, Peter.
I was just airing a question.
I have got a nicely streak in me, Peter, when I'm dealing with scum of society. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Well,
When I encounter somebody who I regard to be the absolute trash of society, I've tolerated you all evening.
So what have I done to deserve that moniker?
You're absolute scum of society.
So what
Peter.
have I done to deserve that moniker, Edna?
Because you're involved in... You're a hoaxer. You're just a fraud, aren't you, really? In every single
Why
way.
do
You
say
push
that,
frauds. Look at what you're talking about, how you think that the 9/11 hoax was good for society. You are a wanker, aren't you, really? You are a complete cock for saying such a seedy, devious
Why do you
thing.
think? Do you think it's not possible?
Do you think it's a good thing to have that sort of hoax? Do you honestly think that's good? To delude
Hang on, Edna,
99%
you
of the
told me
people?
that you thought 600,000 people died in the Second World War as opposed to 60 million. How many
That's
people
right.
do you think died in Iraq? Do you think it's all been a hoax?
I wouldn't like to make any sort of... let's ask Kay Hammett. She's the one with the
you
links
said
to
I'm
the
an
Middle East.
absolute cunt for saying that 9/11 was
You
a good
answer some
thing.
questions,
And
buddy.
you mentioned about all
Oi,
the wars in Iraq
buddy.
and all of that.
Buddy, you answer some questions, you weaselly little spook. Now tell
Off
us
you
how
go,
many
mate.
people... How many people do you think died in Iraq? How many people were killed by British and American operatives out there? Military operatives. You tell us, Peter.
Well,
You're closer to them than I ever will be.
My best guesstimate is more than 4.
More than 4. Aren't you a funny man? Oh, move aside. Oh,
Am I right?
Father Ted. We've got the next Father Ted here. the most humorous man in Ireland. Step aside. So, okay, Hamad, how many people do you think have been killed in Iraq? And let's toss in Afghanistan as well. How many people? More than 4?
Several thousand.
Yeah, quite.
Tens of thousands.
That's right.
I was right.
Oh, you were, Peter, more than 4. That's right. Let's have a little joke about it. Only 4 people. You really are a nasty little spook, aren't you, Peter?
Yeah, we have local boys who die all the time. They announce it.
Are they real, though? That's the question. Those, American service personnel dying?
Yeah.
And you think they're real? Or do you think they're just there's a thread on Clues Forum, which Simon started some years ago, about the taking of domestic vixens, military vixens.
Yeah, I think they add to it.
Very well read, Edna, for someone who's arrived on the scene so recently.
I haven't arrived on the scene so recently. I've been studying this sort of field for years, Peter. So, whoever you are, Pete Shea.
Who's Robbie Parker, mate?
Yeah, you went into that. I'm not interested in American psyops. Why should I be? I'm not generally interested in American American domestic psyops.
American deaths in Afghanistan.
Well, that's something completely different, isn't it? I'm not interested in
American psyops.
Not particularly, no. The American domestic psyops do not interest me. Why should they? I'm not interested in, the scale of them is the only interesting thing. I was mildly interested in, say, the Utoya hoax. I was mildly interested in that because it was of the proximity to the British Isles. But when it comes to something like Sandy Hook, it's just another American school shoot-up, isn't it? Hoax. A school shoot-up hoax. So no, Robbie Parker did not mean very much to me. So no, they didn't. If that was even the psyop, was it? The Boston bomb hoax was not particularly interesting. Look at it in terms of proximity. I was more interested in the Beslan school massacre. Do you remember that one? No, you don't, do you?
Yes,
You're not
I do.
You
yes,
do,
I
do you?
do.
They groomed you on that one, did they? The spooks handled you well.
No, I heard it through I heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah. Oh, well, whatever. That was, in a sense, was of more interest to me.
No spooks necessary.
The Beslan massacre, Beslan school hoax massacre was more interesting to me than Sandy Hook. So there you go.
That's great.
It had more importance.
To divide your time somewhere.
It had more importance.
They were years apart, weren't they?
It had more importance.
Years apart.
The Beslan school massacre had more importance for the geopolitics of the area than the Sandy Hook.
They were
hoax
years
did.
apart, though.
Of course, they were years apart. But as I said,
can you not divide your time?
The Beslan school hoax. It's a question of what I'm interested in. I couldn't tell you even who won the World Cup.
You're not interested
Germany?
in fakery at all, so. Not interested in one of the most blatantly fake episodes in PSYOP history in terms of Sandy Hook, and you're not interested. In every other PSYOP,
not particularly, no.
And you never heard of Robbie Parker, but yet you did a video on the children of the Sandy Hook victim parents in the Super Bowl. Or you did an expose or something.
No, I didn't. You're bad.
Man, you're on record.
Your intelligence is unsound,
Peter.
Your intelligence is unsound.
You said you did, man. You're on record.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I said I would do one. I didn't say that at all. I said I had examined.
No, you said you investigated it.
I did investigate it. I did not make a video about it. I examined 2 videos.
Yet you didn't know who Robbie Parker was even after investigating.
Let's get back to some Irish psyops, Peter. Let's get back to some Irish psyops. Because if anybody's listening in Ireland, we've got a character here calling himself Peter Shea, who claims to be from the Sligo area of the south. And he clearly has links to...
How's it going, everybody? I'm
military intelligence. British military intelligence.
I'm very close to Coleraine and Belfast's great bomb fucking repositories.
You find it all a joke, don't you, really, Peter? You do, don't you?
I think you're hilarious, mate.
So you're trying
to back yourself out of a corner, but you're
probably
failing.
A few thousand. What about
miserably.
If you sort of like suspend one's belief in the mainstream media accounts of the number of victims, American and British victims in the Afghan and Iraqi military adventures, shall we say? How many Iraqis and Afghan citizens do you think have lost their lives?
You told me how disgusting I was for saying 9/11 was a good thing in 9/11 reflected against all the deaths.
How many do you think then, Kay Hammond? How many Afghans and Iraqis do you think have lost their lives since 2001, December 2001, and was it 2003?
A lot fewer than what's reported, anyway.
How many do you think, Kay?
Kay is not on at the minute.
Has she gone off, has she? I think that's probably a cue
She's seen through me. She's seen through me and my facade, Edna.
That's quite likely, yeah. I think most of us have, Peter.
That's what you want us to call you.
You got me busted, mate. What can I do but put my hands out?
Yeah.
I'm very calm, though. I'm very calm under pressure on, like...
You're not really, are you? Because you wouldn't have thrown in that stupid red herring about me using voice morphing software.
What's the worst thing I've called you since
You've called me a fraud, Peter.
I have called you that to your face. You've called me a cunt. What reason do you have for calling me that?
Look, I'm not involved in... I think I'm a bit tedious. This is more than a bit tedious, Peter. You are a shill.
You're free to hang up any time you like, mate.
You are working for British intelligence, Peter Shea. Aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are, yeah. I thought you were.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you for confirming that.
Uh-huh. I'd sell out my country, wouldn't I?
I could imagine you would, yeah.
Yeah, of course you would. Of course you would.
I had a chat with some interesting people who used to be based in the Ballymun area of Dublin.
I bet you have had chats with lots of people, mate.
Yeah, I did have some interesting people. They're in Canada now, though. Yeah.
Listen, the British are the bullies here. The British are the bullies. Everyone else are victims, so they're all forced into a situation where they have to be underdogs to the bullies.
Anyway, it was about the drug trade, Peter.
Are you Irish?
You're involved in the drug trade, aren't you, Peter? You're involved in the drug trade, aren't you, Peter?
Can you turn off your distorter and then we can hear your proper voice?
You're involved in the drug trade, aren't you, Peter?
You're not from Wolverhampton, mate, are you? You're not living in Wolverhampton, are you?
Whatever you want to believe, matey. Sunshine. Sweetheart.
I smoke weed. I have made no secret that I smoke weed.
So you're involved in the drug trade, Peter?
I do not sell anything. Does that clear things up for you?
Do you think the death penalty should apply for heroin traffickers, Peter?
I think all drugs should be legal. So, decriminalised.
Do you think that there was a psyop there? It probably wasn't any truth in it, but a British Pakistani was shot dead by the firing squad in China for trafficking £250,000 worth of heroin through China, allegedly.
It was probably a British plant or something, yeah.
So what do you reckon? Do you think that was wrong to shoot him?
The British are known for smuggling drugs into China, aren't they?
Who do you reckon smuggles the drugs into Ireland, Peter? Who do you reckon's bringing them in through Dunleary?
I happen to believe Greg Hallett when he says that the biggest beneficiary of the drugs trade is the Queen of England's husband, actually, whatever his name is.
Where do you reckon they're coming in then, Peter? Through Dunleary or Dublin? Very poor.
I'm sure there's umpteen places.
Are they?
Umpteen places that
what did you think of that siege?
Anywhere where the police are corrupted, mate. And the police are corrupted everywhere.
Peter Shea. What do you think of that seizure on the Foyle Bridge in Derry City? What do you make of that heroin seizure? Didn't you? It was quite a high-profile one. Very good, very staged. Heroin seizure, wasn't it? I don't watch the
mainstream news.
Didn't you? Do you think it was real, Peter?
Don't know.
Heroin seizure. You don't?
I don't know,
You're linked to that sort of drug trade, aren't you, really?
Why do you say that?
What do you reckon happened then, Peter, there?
Well, why do you say I'm linked to that drug trade?
Tap, tap.
Did you not hear my question? Why do you say I'm linked to the drug trade?
I'm listening to your answers, Peter, rather than answering questions.
Okay, I didn't hear about it. Well, I answered your question. I didn't hear about the bridge, whatever you're talking about, the bridge bust.
Tell us about that real IRA shooting where somebody was cultivating cannabis, weren't they, allegedly, and they were shot dead. They were tied to a chair and shot dead. What do you reckon happened there, Peter? Do you think that was a psyop, or do you think it was real?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I've never heard the story as well.
No. You don't seem to know much about what's going on in Ireland, do you really, Peter?
One thing I will... You mentioned the last time. One thing I will talk about. You talked about Jerry McCabe, who was shot in Adair in Limerick after a post office raid, and you were wondering if it was a psyop. And I thought it was. I thought it might be as well. I actually, and now you're interested in this, I actually went to school with Ian McCabe, which was Jerry McCabe's son. I went to primary school, and I knew him well. I went to university with him as well.
What were you doing in York, Peter? Tell us a bit about your time in York.
All the outer shows of... It was all the outer shows of... Hang on. It was all the outer shows of mourning and the reality of the shooting. And I said this to my brother. I suspected that it was a psyop and it might have been faked. But it turns out that he told me
it turns out it was real. Would you believe that it was real? Peter O'Shea says it was real, so it was real.
No, he doesn't say that it was real.
9/11, but it was all for the better, wasn't it? Like 9/11.
This is direct.
It was for the goodness of mankind. That's right, Peter. That's right. The 9/11 hoax
Hang on,
was for the
Edna, I'm
benefit
just
of
telling
society,
you about the
wasn't it?
psyop.
Uh-huh. Go on then.
I'm not saying that.
I don't
mate.
know anything
Why
about
are you
psyop in...
You're talking over me because you don't want to hear my answer.
It's boring. You're talking about a trivial
My brother
psyop
said-
in Limerick, aren't you? A trivial psyop in Limerick City, which is of no consequence to anybody.
You mentioned
outside. I never mentioned it. I don't know anything at all about any stupid little shooting psyops in Limerick. So no, I don't. I never mentioned it. I mentioned the missing person psyops in Limerick. Remember?
You mentioned Jerry McCabe shooting.
I don't remember any shooting Jerry McCabe. Don't even know who Jerry McCabe is or was
Well,
or wasn't.
you're a liar,
He's
mate.
probably.
You're a
I don't know
liar.
anything about
And
Jerry McCabe. Never heard of him.
If someone wants me to prove my case, I can find where you mentioned
Oh,
it.
that's right.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, Pete. I've
I was
never
putting
heard
you
of Jerry
right, telling
McCabe.
you
So let's go back
testimony
to
of my
those
brother.
missing
That's why I bring
persons
it up.
psyops. Let's go to somebody phoned me up. Would you believe about
One
those
minute.
Limerick missing persons psyops? Somebody actually telephoned me in Britain. I thought, what the fuck is going on here? Can you
You
imagine
worked
that?
in Limerick. You saw them with your own eyes.
I did, Peter, and I worked out it was all a nasty little
Small
hoax
world,
to
Edna,
frighten
isn't
the
it?
people
Small
of
world.
Limerick, frighten the good people of Limerick into
What brought
thinking
you
that
to Limerick, mate?
people were disappearing around them. What a nasty little psyop. Who
What
cooked
brought you
something
to
like that up?
Limerick? You seem to be the only one who's seen these posters. I was in Limerick
Really?
today.
I didn't just see
any
them, Peter. I didn't just see them. I photographed them all and
Did you
queried. And I queried who was putting them up. Missing person photographs,
Well, you
Peter.
unfolded
Who was
the
behind those? Who was behind them, Peter?
I'm thinking you fucking very well might have been.
Aren't you a joker? The
brought you to
23rd
Limerick,
card
mate?
in the pack. The joker.
Small town. I brought you to Limerick.
What brought me to Limerick? Can't remember. What was I doing in Limerick? Good question. Why is anybody in Limerick?
Come on, spit it out, Ed. That was only
Perhaps it was.
recently.
Perhaps it was to
When you-
expand my
you told me you were
poetry
there, don't you?
skills. I was making up limericks as I was going along, and I
You
tumbled
remember?
into
You
them.
remember when you told me you were there, don't you?
I do I?
Well, I'm asking you, when were you there? I know. I remember what you told me last time.
Oh, you remember? I know, do you? Oh, you've done your intelligence.
Can you tell me, mate? Can you tell
Not
me?
really,
Because you
no.
saw all these missing posters, signs.
I
I've
did.
never
That's
seen them.
right, and I took some photographs of them all. Peter, who put them up, Peter? Who put up those missing person
think-
photographs to
when were you in
frighten the
Limerick?
local community, Peter?
When were you in Limerick? Because you
put
can't
them
remember
up?
when you told me you were in Limerick. Isn't that why
That
you're
doesn't really matter why I was
obfuscating?
there. Is the psyop still ongoing then, Peter?
Isn't that why
you're
you're
there?
obfuscating? I have caught you
We've
out so
caught
many
you
times.
bang to
mate.
right. So tell us about the Chew and Baby hoax. We busted that one, didn't we, Peter?
I
Was
think
it
that's a
800
hoax as
babies?
well. I think
You
that's a
do?
transparent hoax as well.
But who was behind it, Peter?
Well,
Come on,
I have
answer.
no idea.
You've no
I have no
idea.
idea.
You've no idea who was behind it.
No. I haven't paid much attention to it.
Where was the psyop panning out then? Which newspapers was it in? Where was it in, Peter? Which newspaper
I
predominantly
don't read the
ran?
newspapers, mate. I don't know.
Ah, so you don't know what's
I don't
going
know.
on
What do you
your
want me
own
to say?
doorstep.
I don't know.
You don't know
read
which
the
psyops
newspapers.
are going on your
I don't watch the
doorstep.
television.
No,
It
of
was in
course you don't.
Tuam, in County Galway, and for anyone who wasn't aware of this story, it was claimed that 800 babies had been killed and dumped in a septic tank, and it later turns out that that's not the case at all.
So who do you think helped blow the cover on that hoax then, Peter?
I think it possibly could be one of these hoaxes to sort of bring the whole Catholic abuse to the open air, even though
Really?
specifics were lies, but the generality is true.
Oh, it was true. Oh, I see. It was true. That's right. Yeah. So it
No,
was
just
a
the
noble
generality
lie.
in
It
terms
was a
of
noble
abuse
lie.
by the Catholic
That's
Church
right.
over
The
the
Catholic
years.
Church had been killing babies, but not there. That's right, Peter.
I don't know. That's what I think. Yeah,
What do you think about the Jesuits, Peter?
I think they rule the world, mate.
Rule the world with the Jews or without? They take it in
not with the
turns,
Jews.
alternate days.
In every village,
Jews
in every town,
Monday, Jesuits
in every
Tuesday.
village, in every town, you'll find a Catholic church.
Really amazing. But in every town
Yeah.
I find a telephone box as well. What does that mean? British Telecom rules the world. Or Telecom Aaron, is it?
Well, in every town you find a street as well. Does that mean streets rule the world?
And in
Edna?
every town, there's a police station that says Garda Síochána on it. What does that mean?
Garda
Peter?
what?
Garda Síochána, isn't it?
Garda what?
Can you let's hear a bit of your Irish? Come on. If you've been living in Ireland all these years, come on, let's hear a bit of Irish.
What do you want
Come
me
on.
to say, mate?
I want you to say, yeah, you can say whatever you want. I'll record it. I've got some Irish-speaking friends.
It's not Garda. What did you say, Garda?
Tiashana.
It's Garda Síochána. Garda Síochána means peace officers. Padar Síochána Sanam Dum. Tome the nation August ish. Tom kind less.
Dreadful. Your Irish is worse than Jerry Adams, and that's saying something, because you're cut from the same cloth. A couple of spooks. Pete Shea and Jerry Adams, please take your seats in the Houses of Parliament. Swear your oath. A couple of spooks, aren't you, really? Except Adams is a bit slicker. Your Irish speaking skills are non-existent.
It's not the first language. Apparently when the English came over and
right,
yeah. Or unlawful to speak Irish.
Really? And that's how you happen to not being able to speak any Irish? You can't speak any Irish, Peter.
I haven't spoken in years. English is my first language. Je parle français, tu parles français? Tu parles français, Edna?
No, not interested in French, Peter. Let's talk about Irish.
I'm more fluent in French than I would be in Irish. But give me a bit of a conversation, I'll soon pick it up.
Really? So you're a bit of a plant there, really. You're an English speaker.
And funny enough, my name,
Englishman in Ireland.
Síochána, my name Edna, my original name, not
you're
the legal
really
name.
Boring
my name
Peter. I don't know what
Peter
you want,
Shea,
but you're really
which
boring
translates in Irish as Padar O Síochána, and you have the Garda Síochána, so I am Peter of Peace. Tá Gaeilge gom Edna amul Gaeilge agus, tá mé Machoni in Irish, Kunde Clare, agus tá grá in my core, forgot that's a fresh in me.
I just want to point out there is a third possibility. That you're both spies.
And you as well, of course, Kay Hammer. And you as well, of course.
Absolutely, Kay.
All three of us,
there's a fourth possibility. We are all spies.
Or alternative is a fifth possibility that you two are spies and I'm not. Fancy that.
And there's a possibility that none of us are.
So that's six possibilities then.
There's the initial possibility as well, which I see as being the most realistic scenario. Proven scenario. So there's no doubt left. I'm not a cunt, I tell you.
I appreciate that. Well, I know.
Yes, well, yes.
We all must form our own points of view, and that's fine. Anyone can believe what they want.
So tell us about some more psyops in Ireland. Tell us about a few. There was an interesting one. Was it? Now, what was the name of that place? It wasn't the Cliffs of Moher. It was somewhere on the Aran Islands, wasn't it? There was a hoax there of a death. A man who supposedly killed his wife or lover and left all her clothes at the edge of a cliff. You don't seem to know anything about these Irish hoaxes, do you? Are you in Ireland?
I don't read the news. I don't buy papers or have a television.
You don't? You just tune into the forum and just post shite on there, don't you? About,
clues for it. I haven't posted
you have,
in 2 years, mate.
No, you were flushed off there like the nasty turd that wouldn't go down the pan, weren't you? They eventually... They did. They squirted some bleach on you and flushed you away. Didn't they, Peter?
Mate. It's all right. I didn't have too much to contribute anyway.
No, you didn't. No, that's very true.
No.
That's the first honest thing you said all night. You had nothing
That's fine.
to contribute.
I admit it. I absolutely admit it. My brain is not up to the brain power that's to be found in that.
So what do you think you've done then to expose hoaxery? You've mentioned about how you stood up in a fish and chip shop, which they're not actually that common, fish and chip shops in Ireland. They're more of an English thing, aren't they? Fish and chips. Fish and chips, please, mate.
I mentioned that to Hoy, but would Hoy have heard of...
So they're not really an Irish thing, are they? Not an Irish thing, really. So I'm wondering how you could find a fish and chip shop in Ireland.
Would Hoy have heard of abracadabra?
I don't think
know. So I just said a fish and chip shop. But we get the message.
Abracadabra, hey? Oh. And what town is that in? Abracadabra.
Abracadabra is a chain store around the nation. And in England as well. You never heard of abracadabra, mate?
And that's where you stood up and you said, you pronounced that 9/11 was a hoax. And they all said, oh, God, tell us more. And then you said, but 9/11 was good. That's your claim, isn't it? The 9/11 was a good psyop.
I announced.
You said it was for the benefit of society.
I announced that the Twin Towers.
What do you make of that, Kay Howard? Can you see any goodness in psyops like 9/11? Can you think they're good for society? Do you think they're good for...
Hey, you boys, leave me out of your cat fight.
Peter thinks that 9/11 was good for society.
I'll shut up.
He thinks it was good for mankind. Good for Jordanians.
Yes,
they enjoyed it.
Ultimately.
Didn't they?
I've come a long way, mate.
Yeah.
I still have love in my heart, Edna. Have you, mate? Have you? Do you love your fellow man?
Do I love my fellow man? Well, not universally, no. I pick and choose who I love, Peter. Some people have a long way to go before I love them,
Peter. You don't think we're all victims? You don't think we're all victims of a twisted regime?
Yeah, but the point is when you realise that you've been hoaxed, then your duty is pretty much to educate your fellow man that they too have been deluded and misled and whatever else. Well, not with you, am I really? I could be doing something much more useful. I could be actually educating somebody who might be interested in what I'm saying, but you're not. You're just serving. Do
you normally offend?
So tell us about the psyops. Tell us about the Coleraine psyops. I'm interested in the maids.
I don't know anything about it, mate.
I'm interested in the psyops, the British military intelligence psyops in Northern Ireland, Peter.
Okay, well, I can tell you about Derry. I lived in Letterkenny and Donegal, and we went across the border and spent the night in Derry.
Did you?
I'll tell you something for nothing, mate. You would shit your fucking pants there.
Really?
And that was back in 1992, but there was such tension there that you would...
That's where I was living in 92, Peter.
It was a reality, the situation.
That's where I was, Peter, in 93, I think it was, actually. I was there.
In Derry?
No, I was in Belfast, West Belfast.
Are you disputing what I'm saying? I believe you were as well, mate.
Sort of. Yeah,
are you British Army, Edna?
Am I British Army? What do you reckon? What do you reckon, Peter? Do you think I'm honestly British Army?
Why did you have to ask that question again? Weak man. Why did you have to ask the question when you heard it? Weak, Edna. You're giving away the game, mate.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. You honestly think I'm in the British Army? Edna? What do you reckon?
I don't think you were born in the 70s. I think you're in your 60s.
I'm in my 60s, am I? Oh, my God. I'm showing my age.
Are you British Army, mate?
What do you reckon? They wouldn't have me in the British Army, Peter.
You've seen signposts of missing people in Limerick. What brought you to Limerick?
Looking for people like you, Peter. I
wouldn't doubt it, man.
That's right. Some interesting chats with people there. It's a good city, Limerick is. It's a good city. There's one a few flies in the ointment, Peter.
Lovely city.
It is a good city.
There always is, mate.
There'll always be a few cankers in society, but Limerick's pretty good.
All at the flies, though,
Don't think too much of that newspaper, though, the Limerick Leader. I can't think of anything much more vile than claiming there's loads of missing persons in the city.
I've been in the Limerick
when there aren't.
My photograph has been in the Limerick Leader for playing youth football and all that.
Really? So what do you think about missing persons psyops, then? They're pretty foul, aren't they, really? Claiming that people have vanished in the community when they haven't.
I was in Limerick today. I didn't see anything of the sort.
Is that threat? I mean, really, that sounds... Is that what you're trying to do, Edna? Are you threatening him with making him go missing?
No, I'm talking about a psyop from... was it a year or two ago, Peter? You must know about these things.
I mean, it sounds like... Are you trying... Is that just a joke threat, or is
There's no threat whatsoever. I'm saying there was a psyop running the Limerick newspaper. There's a city in west of Ireland called Limerick, yeah? Named, the joke is the cheesy poems are written, named after Limerick, which is actually a city. Okay, it's about 500,000 people, I think. Maybe a bit less, 400,000, something like that. Okay, so
less than that, mate. 150,000.
Is it? Oh well, you know your statistics. But anyway, it's a sizable city.
There, mate?
It's a sizable city for Ireland. Okay, and when I happened to be in Limerick, I was passing through, as you do.
Where are you going from and to?
I was going from the north to the south, and then I went from the south to the north, and then I went from the west to the east, and vice versa. That's right. Yeah. Do you want me to give you exact addresses for where I was staying?
Where were you coming from that brought you to Limerick?
Well, I've probably got more family in Ireland than you have, Peter.
You can't answer, mate, can you?
What do you want to know? I dropped in on my Uncle Mark.
I want to know what brought you through Limerick. You passed through Limerick, and you...
I dropped in to say hello to my Uncle Mark. There you are.
I know.
Anyway, while I was in Limerick,
I don't believe you.
Okay, while I was in Limerick,
where were you going to?
I bounced around, a few friends and relatives around the area, and I noticed that there were signs up everywhere saying "missing person." Jim. They always seem to be like the first name and no other information. It was pretty weird. And I thought, missing person, not seen since 4th of August or whatever it was, all these various dates and times and everything else, believed to be in the company of 2 other men, or et cetera, and it would just say Jim or Phil or Dave or John or Paul or whatever, and there were these posters stuck up everywhere, and they were really crap posters as well, and they didn't seem to have any sort of like official feel to them. They were just like weird posters with like somebody had photocopied rather than any sort of official printing on them, and there was no link to how you might actually, how you might identify the person or anything else, or why they'd gone missing or anything else, or there was no official context to it, like you'd expect the local police to say. You'd expect the local police to say, contact us. You'd expect a sort of like a Garda sign at the bottom, Irish police notice on there, contact missing persons bureau on, blah, 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 whatever, telephone number. But there wasn't. It was all sort of mobile phone numbers, missing this person, missing that. Anyway, the local
newspaper...
That's the
sight you took in, mate, is it, when you visited Limerick? When you
and the local newspaper
Get the fuck out of here.
For the city, called the Limerick Leader, was running the psyops in the news article, saying, another person has gone missing.
Okay, honest to fuck.
Another missing Limerick man, etc., etc., may have been murdered, perhaps thrown in the river, perhaps shot dead over a drug deal.
Where were you going
to when
you were passing through Limerick?
It was one after another. And I followed these up, and I took photos of them all, actually. I don't know where those photos are, Peter. Do you?
Anyway. British Army, mate? You British Army?
Would the British Army really be interested in
Where were you going through when you passed through Limerick and you took all this information on board?
That's an interesting story, but I wouldn't. It's not really relevant. I guess, if you were thinking about Limerick geographically, where would I be going to or from?
I was in Limerick today, and I saw no...
Wow, that was a little while later, wasn't it? Perhaps people exposing these hoaxes have helped snuff them out, Peter.
You said you were in Limerick.
Right. Anyway, that's the background to it, Kay. The supermarket had loads of posters up, pinned up in the windows of the local supermarkets saying, missing person, John missing since so-and-so date. Please help, much loved, and everything else.
Yeah, the last time we talked with Peter, you recounted that story.
But Peter seems to think it's not true. So there must be some reason why he feels uncomfortable over it. So I'm not sure what that is, but anyway, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, we're all at different places.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, as for Limerick, it's a nice city, and it's a shame when people terrorise it.
What were the hallmarks of your visit? Did you pick out any particular nice spots, Edna, to visit?
Did I pick any nice spots? Let me think. I went to a funeral. I wouldn't call that nice, though. I went to a funeral at Limerick Cathedral, from what I remember. That wasn't very nice. Oh, but anyway, what else? Long while ago now, Peter. It was over a year ago. I guess it must have been about December last year, would it be? December 2012, even. 2013? 2013 it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. So there you go. Very interesting.
Okay,
but anyway,
right.
It's interesting how you can put your fakeologist spectacles on, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can soon sniff out a psyop. And that was one of them. But I just wondered who was behind it, Peter.
Well, I've especially never seen missing posters in supermarket windows.
Funnily enough, Peter, I actually contacted...
You like talking over people, Edna, don't you?
No, there's no need.
Don't you think you talk enough? Can you not give me a chance to say something or answer a question?
Anyway, funnily enough, that somebody behind one of those psyops actually contacted me, those missing person psyops, and they said, what do you reckon to this? And we had a little chat, and
was he British Army, Edna?
She actually, and she...
She British Army?
What do you reckon? I should imagine she worked for the intelligence...
yes.
I would imagine she worked for the Irish intelligence operators, Peter.
Oh, that's why she contacted you then, mate.
What do you reckon to that, Peter?
Cross-border kind of cooperation.
That's right, yes, Peter, yeah. So where do you reckon the dope's coming into Northern Ireland then? Do you reckon the dope's coming into the north then, Peter?
I don't know, mate.
Where do you reckon the heroin's coming in, Peter? Peter Shea.
You can be sure it's controlled by the British aristocracy.
Is it really, Peter? Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that, to be honest, but you must have local...
Why the sneaky laugh then, Edna?
What about local handlers, though, in Ireland, Peter? What about local handlers? There must be people in Ireland who are handling it for their British masters,
the
Peter.
Local shop and buy, like Kay does, buy a big load of weed or whatever. Even if you wanted anything, all drugs decriminalized.
What are you calling... Oh, Peter, you calling me out, bitch? What's wrong with you?
You're damn right,
So going back to that heroin
that they give out to you in hospital.
I wouldn't touch this shit.
Going back to that big heroin seizure on the Foyle Bridge in Derry, Peter. Who do you reckon was behind that?
I've never heard of it.
You haven't? It's like just a few miles from you, Peter. Do you reckon staged that? It was obviously staged, wasn't it, Peter? If you're going to seize heroin, you don't do...
where Limerick was in relation to Derry, you idiot.
I thought you said you were in Sligo, Peter. You're sliding around.
Well, we're not talking about Limerick.
You're Sligo now, are you? I've got some friends in Sligo.
You're the only one who's mentioned Sligo, mate.
I've got some friends in Eastkey. Do you know Eastkey, Peter?
Is that near Westkey?
No. If you don't know where Eastkey is, then you don't live in Sligo, Buster.
I never mentioned Sligo,
You said you lived in Sligo, Peter.
Never.
County Sligo. If you don't know where Eastkey
Never,
is...
man.
You don't know Sligo, do you?
Never mentioned Sligo. I don't know anything about Sligo.
You're a bit false, aren't you, Peter? You put on an Irish accent and assume
Sligo is up on the northwest coast of Ireland.
That's right, you've got the map in front of you, yes. It's up there on the northwest, that's right. If you go a little bit further north, you'll find where Marconi sent his signals across to Newfoundland. Yes, Clifton. Go a little bit further northwest. And Clifton.
I was in Clifton recently, mate.
Yes.
Beautiful town.
It is beautiful.
Mostly English, by the way. I couldn't get over the number of English that were in Clifton. Why do you think that is?
Well, because they're taking over,
That's
Peter.
true, though. I couldn't get over it.
Because you don't look after your country. Because there's Quislings, Peter.
No, because Mayo. It's in Mayo. Clifton is in Mayo, Galway. But Mayo is owned by the English. Half of Ireland is still owned by the English.
That's right. You picked that up from Brian V, didn't you?
No, it's true.
Peter.
I know it's true.
Is it? How so? Tell us about the London...
Do you think the English should
Dublin
get the fuck out of Ireland, Edna?
Tell us about the Dublin bombings.
Do you think the English should get the fuck out of Ireland? Do you think the English should get the fuck out of Ireland?
Maybe.
You asking me? What do you mean? I'm not in Ireland, so you're asking me a question about whether the English. Right, quantify them. What English? Somebody who's legitimately...
Not the holidays. They need the income. Leave the holiday people. It's an income for the local community.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon to that bombing in London of Airy Neve by the INLA? What do you think of that,
stolen
Peter?
From the Irish over the centuries. Airy Neve?
Yeah.
Airy Neve.
What do you reckon to Airy Neve? AIREYNEAVE. What do you reckon to Airy Neve? He was an MP. He was one of Mrs. Thatcher's, Baroness Thatcher's closest confidants. You've never heard of Airy Neve? He was blown up in the Houses of Parliament in London by supposedly by Irish Republicans. Do you think that was real, Peter?
No, it sounds like a made-up name, though.
Airy Neve.
That's weird.
AIREY. AIREY. Made-up name. Well, if it was a made-up name,
that sounds like a made-up name.
So, who do you think...
Maybe he was a sim. Was he a sim?
I wouldn't like to say it was before my time, but there was certainly a huge hullabaloo over it all, wasn't there? Do you remember it all, Peter? No?
I remember the biting bombings and the whole spiel about that, yeah.
So we're back to the Irish republicanism. Let's keep it on that, Peter, because whilst we've got you in the crosshairs, we know where you are. So what happened then with the Brighton bombing then, Peter? What happened there,
I think
Peter?
It was fake.
You do? So,
I think it was fake.
So what about Lord Tebbett's wife then? She supposedly was left wheelchair-bound after the bomb blast carried out by a man allegedly called Patrick
Just
McGee.
like your man from the Boston bombings, is it?
So you think it was a hoax, do you? I agree with you, Peter. You're one of the few times I agree with you. So the bomb hoax You're saying that the Brighton bombing, well, there was presumably a bombing of some description to blow the front off that hotel where all the politicians were staying.
This is how these things work, mate.
Yeah. And it was a very shagged hotel, wasn't it? It was very knackered. So, who do you think did it?
British Crown.
Right. That sounds about right. British intelligence, in other words. Does that come uncomfortable?
All set and led by a hierarchy. British Crown.
For what purpose? We're on the same wavelength here, Peter. For once.
Well, I mean, we know the IRA are not what the IRA were said to have been.
There is no IRA, Peter. Let's face it. There is none. There is no such thing as us. There's a few yobby kids.
Yes, that's the point. You come around here, and you'll find plenty of people who are associated with, in one form or another, some sort of resistance movement.
Really?
Genuinely.
Where's here, Peter?
But they're being set and led themselves. And when if I ever try to mention Jerry Adams and just fakery and the infiltration and all that, well, I don't come across too well, I think. But that doesn't change But
there is no Irish republicanism, really, is there? There's no Irish Republican movement. It's a hoax. It was co-opted.
Well, there is a strong feeling.
It was co-opted in the 70s.
There's a strong feeling among some that the British should get the fuck out of Ireland. You know.
Oh, I'm not going to argue with that. You shouldn't. It's a sovereign nation, ostensibly. So
I think they should as well. But the problem
how do you think they're in there then?
Edna, they own. Oh, they've had 800 years to settle in here and steal everything. That's what the British do, mate.
You're trying to annoy me by saying that. You don't do so, because I agree. Yeah.
And I think the British people are beautiful people.
Really? I should think some of them are, some of them aren't.
People.
Yeah?
I do.
Some of them aren't, some of them are. Yeah? Same as the Irish.
In general.
In general, I'd say...
In general.
I'd say about half and half,
most of the Irish are beautiful. Edna, you get a few cunts here and there.
That's right, yeah. So going back to the Brighton bombing then, so who do you think carried that out? Who actually planted the bomb in that Brighton hotel, the Grand Hotel in Brighton, and carried out that vast bombing? Because it must have involved the senior figures within the Conservative Party, the British ruling government, the ruling party.
One thing I will say is I feel bad for Kay. She's probably left out of the conversation. And she hasn't a clue what's...
I'm sure she does.
All these local,
in the 80s, Kay,
psyops are all about.
There was a big bombing in a town off the south coast of England called Brighton. It's quite a nice town, actually. But it's a very sort of royal town. There's a big pavilion there, a royal pavilion built by one of the previous kings. And anyway, there was a huge... Whilst the ruling party of the day, the Conservative Party, were meeting there, they were meeting in a hotel. They were all staying there overnight. And there was a huge bomb blast. And supposedly lots of them dead, several of them dead, and several maimed, including the wife of a cabinet minister called Lord Tebbit. Lady Tebbit supposedly was left in a wheelchair, and the man who supposedly carried out the bombing was called Patrick Magee. And there's a strong question mark over exactly what happened and who carried out the bombing, but Peter's probably better placed to answer that than me.
I'm not, mate. I don't know anything about it.
But you said the Crown carried it out rather than the Irish Republicans. Because, of course, it was blamed on Mankell.
I think it was a psyop, but any of the details, I have no idea. I think
you haven't.
In light of 7/7,
do you feel a bit uncomfortable talking about it?
In light of everything else, I think it's more likely that it is a psyop. Yeah.
What do you mean by a psyop? You mean there was a bomb?
A staged affair.
Do you think Lady Tebbit really did have her legs blown to pieces and left in a wheelchair?
I don't think anyone gets hurt in any of these staged affairs.
So how do you think Lady Tebbit ended up in a wheelchair?
I don't know. I could speculate, but, it doesn't take too much imagination to kind of figure out a way.
Mm-hmm. Horse accident.
A wheelchair.
Horse accident.
So what about Patrick Magee? Who was he? Who was he? The man who supposedly carried out the bombing.
I don't know, mate.
Do you think he was a sim?
Possibly. Honestly, I don't know.
But one thing I would is for sure. I'm pretty sure I saw that hotel under considerable renovation, but it was in a terrible state when this bomb supposedly went off. So kind of like, if you think about it from an insurance perspective, it's not a bad thing to blow the front off a hotel and then scoop the insurance claim and put it back into a better state, put it back into its former glory using the insurance firm.
Yeah, you speak as if you know much more about it than I do, so I don't know why
I was a child then. I was a child. But I kind of looked at it in hindsight. What about that Hyde Park bombing? Do you remember that? And the Irish were blamed for killing lots of royal, you know what they call them, army horses.
What about the Birmingham 4? What about the
where?
That was a hoax.
The which one?
The Birmingham 4 and...
Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. I was in that bar. I was actually in that Birmingham bar not that long ago, and it was, I don't know, I kind of felt it was like, whatever. Yeah, they were all over the place.
Why would you say, of course, that was a hoax?
Of course it was a hoax. Oh, just look at it from the sort of propaganda vector. What does one achieve from planting a bomb in the closest allied country? I mean, you would say that however much there's a nominal hatred between the British and Irish people, or British and Irish, establishments, whatever, there was no reason to actually plant a bomb in your neighbour's country, is there? It would be like Sweden planting a bomb in Norway. No sense. Or Americans planting a bomb in Canada.
Well, that's not great. They're for a hoax.
It's not. I didn't look at it too much, but I kind of felt it was a hoax. Yeah, and the Arndale one was a good one as well. Oh, don't say good one.
Then
I mean, it was
say possibly a hoax, Edna, not.
Of course it was. Of course it was definitely a hoax. Of course it was definitely a hoax. Well, what do you mean?
Is there anything that wasn't a hoax in your brain?
In terms of what? What about in your brain? What do you believe happened?
Well.
Do you think these psyops are good then, Petey? You think
I actually think the Birmingham
good,
bombings were a hoax as well. I do think so.
You think they were good? You kind of think they were good?
No, is it the Guildford 4, is it?
No, it was the Birmingham 6, wasn't it? Bobby Sands was a hunger striker, wasn't he? Something separate altogether, wasn't it? Yeah, you don't seem to know your Irish history very well, do you?
66 days he survived, yeah.
Really? 66, amazing. Yeah. So what do you think about Longkesh, then? Do you think Jerry Adams was really ever incarcerated in Longkesh, later known as the Maze? Do you think he was really there, Peter?
Jerry Adams...
Would you think he was a spook, Peter?
Okay, well, I think he was a spook, right? Because Jerry Adams, even though he knew... This is apparently what's been reported anyway. I don't know too much about it, but even though he knew his brother was abusing his daughter... His brother was abusing his own daughter, not Jerry Adams' daughter. So his brother was abusing Jerry Adams' niece... For years and years, Jerry Adams never came forward and reported it.
But what makes you sure that that's part of it?
And he's a cunt. Well, I do. If that's true.
But where have you learned about Jerry Adams?
I think it is likely true because I think that is likely true, Edna, because that's kind of been an ongoing saga, and it's not the first time to come up. And there's been lots of.
Really? So it must be true because
I'm saying,
in the newspaper.
I'm not saying it's true. I tend to believe that it is true.
Do you? I don't really care less whether it's true or not.
If I had a brother and I knew he was abusing his daughter, I'd kill the fucker. Not to mind report him.
So going back to Jerry Adams and Sinn Féin IRA as the lawyers call them. What links do you think the IRA have with whoever they are, with the Basque separatist movement? I think they're controlled
and compromised.
So why do you think they're linked?
Compromised by your own nations, probably your own employers.
Why do you think the IRA are linked nominally with the Basque separatist movement known as ETA in northern Spain, southern France? Why do you think the IRA are linked to that area, Peter? What do you think they have? Why do you think? You think it's ideologically, no more than that. Why do you think the IRA were linked to the FARC narco-terrorism movement in Latin America? Why do you think the IRA were linked?
You don't use drugs? You don't like drugs, Edna?
No, I don't know. Of course I don't like drugs.
Why would I like drugs? Drug dealers are in the world.
So why do you think... do you remember when
that was... You don't take a drink?
I do occasionally, yeah, I do, yeah. So why do you think the FARC? Why was the FARC? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's legitimate. It's not a good one. No, it's not. No.
So you do like drugs? Drink is a legitimate drug.
So why were the IRA linked
to the human system?
Why was the IRA linked to the FARC movement in Iberoamerica? What links there?
Why do you keep jumping around? Why don't you answer the question?
Do I think that drugs are bad? I do. Do I think alcohol's bad? I do. Yes. Do I drink? Yes, I do. Yes. So there you are. So there's your answers. Do I think that...
Will you respect my right to use any drug that I feel that I want to? For my own reasons?
Do you think that drugs should be legalized?
All legal is all dead.
Right. So, going back to the history of the British East India Company,
decriminalised
when drugs were legalised.
Do you not think all drugs should be decriminalised?
Do I think that? I think that. Do I think that? I don't know. It's not something I really give too much thought about. But anyway.
But you like your drink, mate. All other drugs are bad. Okay, that's cool.
But then, on the other hand, we don't have people shooting each other over alcohol. Not so far as I know, do we? Whereas we have people killing each other, don't we, Peter?
Over drugs.
We
You're talking about the drug dealers.
We have drug-related killings on our doorsteps, don't we, Peter? We have drug-related killings on our doorsteps, Peter, don't we? We have drug-related killings on our doorstep, don't we, Peter? We have the coroner turning up regularly.
Edna?
We have drug-related killings on our doorstep.
Do you think
Peter?
the British Crown controlled the world, mate?
We have drug-related killings on our doorstep, Peter.
Do you think the British Crown controlled the world or not?
Do I think the British Crown controls the world? What do you mean by the British Crown? The Queen of England? I don't think she even knows how to blow her own nose.
And all the powers that they claim to have.
Do I think they have the powers they claim to have? The British Crown, I think she's a sock puppet. The Queen of England is a sock puppet. And I think it's run very much on the lines of the Venetian Empire, the new Venetian Empire, as they call it. I think we've got a doge, which is what the Queen of England is, a doge, D-O-G-E.
Yeah.
And it's modelled on the Serene Republic of Venice from the 16th century or whenever you want to go back. And I think the Queen of England has almost no powers. And if you look at Disraeli's historic writings about the power of the Crown, they haven't had any power.
That was before your time, Edna.
Of course it was, yeah. But if we look at Disraeli, the British Prime Minister, they had no power. The British royal family, if you want to call them that, have had no power for hundreds of years. Okay, they're very wealthy people, but they're just a doge family, aren't they, really? And you've got a what can we call it?
So are they sort of a Jew type cover then?
Are they a what?
In the same vein as the Jews, shaped and molded
I should
into
imagine.
being
Yeah,
scapegoats.
I should imagine. I'm no fan of the royal family. I'm no fan of royalty, full stop. But I should imagine it's something along those lines. Yeah. No,
okay, I think pretty much in agreement, but they do have some power, mate.
Well, they have that nominal power, but somebody's leaning on the Queen to actually sign something to say, let's wage war against Iraq or something or other. She doesn't know whether she's coming or going or whatever.
What do you think of the notion that Prince Philip blackmailed Elizabeth into the position that he got himself into because he knew that the true nature of the hereditary what am I trying to say? That she was a illegitimate heir to the throne, and he knew her secret, and he blackmailed her into the position that he found himself.
I've never heard that. I don't really care, really. I couldn't care less. I think care less. I couldn't care less.
Queen, mate. You're not proud. You're not proud of your country.
What do you reckon?
Do you not have?
What do you reckon? I think I'm proud of
do you not have Union Jack socks and underwear?
I do. Yeah, that's right. What do you reckon? Yeah. What do you think? Would you? Do you have socks and pants and whatever?
Are they standard in the British Army?
I wouldn't know. I've never been. I'll tell you, the closest I've ever been to the British Army.
Standard kit.
Was going along with some kids who went down to a firing range on a British Army base, and it was kind of like to get, what do we call them, disillusioned youths off the streets, and they gave you a little shoot on their firing range. And when my parents heard about it, they went ballistic. Pardon the pun. Pardon the pun. That's a good one, isn't it? My parents went ballistic.
Not bad.
That was quite funny, even for me.
Yes.
Oh.
You crack yourself up sometimes, don't you, Edna?
Well, that was funny, wasn't it, really? I was dragged along to go to a firing range, yeah. Yep. I was dragged along there, and it was kind of like... And we pinched all the bullets, I remember. We stole them all. And the British Army, they got us firing down this firing range, just as kids who, like, errant kids running around the streets. And they got us down there. They presumably thought it was a good way to recruit us into a cannon fodder, sort of thing. Anyway, they got us down there, and we were shooting down this range. And we pocketed...
How old were you, mate?
I guess I was about 12, something like that. I don't know. No idea. I was pretty young. I was quite young. Probably under the age that one should be firing rifles, British Army issue rifles.
Well,
but anyway,
when is that? The 70s, isn't it?
no, it'd be later than the 70s. It'd be in the 80s, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, might even been early. No, it would been in the 80s. Yeah, we were firing them, and then.
That's what they did. That's what the British Army did with their kids in those days, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much, as I remember it. Yeah. Anyway, not very important, is it?
Okay, mate.
Why? Are you making all these notes, I can imagine you sitting there with your blunt pencil,
No,
Peter.
I don't doubt that it happened, but I would imagine maybe it happened 20 years before that.
20 years before, Christ, you got me chalked up
Maybe
as an
the
oldie.
60s sometime, yeah.
60s? Really? I can tell you now, I wasn't born before the lunar hoax, so there you go. That was 69, wasn't it? So I was long since born after that, so there you go.
You were long since born after that.
Okay. Write that down with your blunt pencil.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you
I was
tell
long
him.
since born after the 1969 moon hoax. Okay.
That's right. Yeah,
I was born in February 1972.
Really? And do you actually remember the lunar hoax? No, you don't. You don't.
Not when I was born.
No, I don't remember it. When I was old enough to actually watch the TV, you know. We didn't have a TV, Peter. My dad was so angry over it all, angry over the propaganda. He kind of recognised what the toxic nature of it all was, and we weren't allowed it. So we weren't allowed a TV until I was maybe into my early teens.
Was your dad
maybe?
British Army, Edna?
I don't think so, Peter. No, he was
He
not.
would have been
no.
active during the Second World War, would he not?
He speaks Irish better than you do, Peter.
Well, I'm not practiced in it. I'm not practicing.
I don't suppose he is either, but he speaks Irish better
Since the
than you.
British came over and they pretty much
Anyway, bear with me. I've got a
punished
thought.
anyone who tried to speak the Irish language.
Yeah,
The Irish
you're
language
talking
went
about
out
100 years
of
ago.
use, but it
I'm
still
not standing
survives.
up.
And give me a weekend and I could speak with anyone fluently in Irish.
I doubt it. But anyway, you speak Irish
That's
about
all
as well
right,
as
mate.
Jerry Adams does. My old man said.
How would
Jerry
you know?
Adams,
You wouldn't recognise
I can't
Irish.
speak it.
If
I
your
can't
old
speak
man
it.
speaks Irish better than
Yeah,
I
he does.
do,
He speaks
Couldn't
Irish
you
better than
pass down
Jerry
a few
Adams
words
does.
to you, mate?
And he sneered at the way Jerry Adams delivered his
You
electoral.
speak a few words, and if your dad speaks it so well,
I don't speak it at all. I don't,
you couldn't even describe. You couldn't even pronounce the Garda Síochána, mate. You're a
That's
bullshitter.
probably true. That's probably true. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, no, I can't.
It
So I
is
don't
true.
speak
You're a
Irish. I'm not.
bullshitter. No problem
not at all.
about it.
I would guarantee my dad speaks Irish better than you do, Peter.
Fair play to him. Is he Irish?
And you don't learn that in the British Army, do you?
Is he Irish?
Anyway, I'll be with you back. Be with
Is
you.
your dad Irish, mate?
Oh, Togi needs to be let out. He's coming back. I wonder how long this is going to take. What do you think, Peter? Another hour? Another 2 hours?
No, I think the case is proven. Look, we're all free to hang up at any time. I guess I'll be hanging up soon. But I just wanted to know, because Edna's dad spoke Irish or speaks Irish better than I do, is he Irish?
Yeah. Yep.
Fair question, isn't it?
Oh, fair question.
Is your dad Irish, Edna? No response, Kay.
I'll be using the loo. Because we've been sitting for a while.
He's in the shitter all night, mate.
Well, the
Peter. Bit of
the sound bites being sent around, so
Yeah.
thanks for being
paste that,
analyzed.
Hey,
Well, Edna, I just wanted to ask you, since your dad can speak Irish better than I can, and I'm an Irishman, is your dad an Irishman?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, Peter. I wouldn't like to
You
divulge his
wouldn't know
background.
if your dad is an Irishman or not.
I've never met him, Peter. I've never met him. No, I'm sure Irish
You know, he
is...
speaks Irish better than I do then, mate.
Oh, I'm teasing. He does speak Irish better than you do, but that's not hard.
So is he Irishman? That he learned Irish?
He did. He learned it as a schoolboy.
In
I would guess.
Ireland?
I would guess so. I don't know. You
So are you
tell
half
me.
Irish, Edna? Are you half
No,
Irish?
I was
Edna?
born in England. I
That is
was born in England.
Is your dad Irish?
Is he Irish? What do you mean by that? Has he got an Irish passport?
Is your dad an Irishman, for fuck's sake?
Is he an Irishman? Would he say he's an Irishman? Don't think he even buys internationalism and all that sort of thing. I don't.
But he grew up in Ireland. Did he
You'll
grow
have
up
to
in
ask him,
Ireland and he
Peter.
learned
I'll drop you
Irish?
his email address. You'll have to hurry up because he's getting on a bit. If you're going to email
I don't
him.
want to. What the fuck would I want your dad's email address from me?
dog stinks in it. Anyway, let's talk about something nice. Let's talk about the
switch
Brighton
the topics, mate. Switch the topics. That's okay. That's okay.
So what? Come on then. Let's talk about some good psyops in Ireland. You say they're for the benefit of society. What good ones have you had?
Dad would have filled you in on all these psyops. He speaks Irish better than I do, mate. He'd know more.
He does, Peter. He does. Well, that's not hard.
Why would he learn that?
Why would he learn that? Presumably so he could penetrate Irish society and
was he British Army, mate?
And sell out to the British Army.
Infiltrate.
No, he's an old peacenik. No, he's not.
So is he Are you British or?
I'm British. Yeah, I'm British. I was born in Britain, so that makes me British, doesn't it?
It doesn't matter. It does not make you British.
Of course it does. If you're born, is where I've got a British passport and I was born in Britain, so that makes me British.
If I'm on holiday in fucking Mozambique and I'm born there, that doesn't mean I'm. My parents are on holidays in Mozambique. That doesn't mean I'm Mozambican.
I'm British. I couldn't speak a word of Irish other than Cheda Melta Felter or whatever it is, and that's about my limit.
So how would you understand? Maybe your dad was spoofing you in terms of his Irish language.
That's right. Yeah, maybe he is. No.
So how would you know he's a better Irish speaker than I am, mate?
I guarantee it. I guarantee he is. Anyway.
But yet you can't understand a word. How do you know he's not a spoofer?
We'll arrange a meeting then, and you can discuss anything. I could just tell.
So you're half
struggling.
Irish. Your dad is Irish. You were born.
I'm not
England,
Irish at all. I was born in the United Kingdom, in UK, Britain, England specifically. And
is your mother British?
She is. Yeah, she is. Yeah.
And your dad is Irish.
They're both of neither sort of not nationalists by any means, but what are you on about? Why do you want to know about my parentage?
My parents are Irish.
Are they? Well,
I just asked you a question. You said,
but if I go back one generation, Peter,
you said your dad speaks better Irish than I do. I'm an Irishman, right. So I just asked you: did your dad go to school in Ireland, or is he Irish the way he learned Irish? That's a simple question.
I think they were living in Britain at the time, so no, he didn't know.
But he was Irish, and your mum is British, so you're half Irish.
I'm not half Irish. I'm British, and it's just to make it even more awkward. Dad's parents were not English, so they're not Irish even either. They were Caribbean. Anyway, let's not talk about this. It's
your
kind of
parents
private.
Are Caribbean.
One
Have you an afro, Edna?
I'm not. No, unfortunately not. No, I'm balding, but yeah. No.
It's very young to be balding, mate.
It is. But I thought you said I was in my 60s, so it's to be expected at that age.
No, that's more reasonable.
You are a wanker, aren't you?
I'm fun, haven't I, mate? I'm tough going.
You're not. You're like something stuck on the car tyre.
I'm tough going, mate,
it off like
and
an
you
old
know
bit of tar stuck on it. So let's go back to a few Irish psyops.
Okay.
Let's go back to a few Irish psyops. What do you reckon are some of the bigger... Brian V, I know you like Brian V, and I were chatting about the very plane crashes that supposedly took place in Ireland.
Hello, Maggie. Gwyneth is after coming on board.